ever made a dreadful mistake in your life or in your business that still haunts you today? Have you ever been plagued by guilt, regret, remorse, and the feeling that you can never make amends for what you have done? Even with the best optimistic attitude and great work habits, it can be difficult to face the losses that were incurred in the past. In this film, you will meet a woman who was facing a terrible mistake that had put her family in financial jeopardy. In little more than an hour, she had a new understanding of how to tap into the greatest source of strength in her life so that she can face each day with courage, determination, and love. You will also see how it is possible to change a relationship by changing one person. Our story begins at an Anthony Robbins seminar of nearly 3,000 people. Tony has just been talking about the spheres of life. Most people have three major spheres of life: yourself, your work, and your relationships. And most people focus mainly on one of these spheres, a little bit on the second sphere, and only a minimal amount on the third sphere of your life and activity. Tony is asking participants to stand up and share the way they had prioritized their spheres. Lindsay stood up to share.
Tell us, what were your spheres? What was the focus within them? What's the cost? What do they need to be? How's it going to change your life for the better? How about this lady right back here? Yes, ma'am. Give her a hand. What's your name? Where are you from?
Lindsay, and I'm from Brisbane.
Lindsay. All right, Lindsay, tell us, what were your spheres? What were you focused on within the spheres? What's been the price?
My spheres, I think, were equal in what I'd say my work. My relationship would be the smallest part. And
your work and?
My work and myself.
Okay, are we equal?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And my relationships, I think, the smaller of like the little dot in the island down below.
Okay. And what have you been trying to get through the work? What needs were you trying to meet primarily at the top of your work and yourself?
I have had a very severe gambling problem over a number of years. I managed to kick the habit of that about 12 months ago, but unfortunately I've been left with enormous amounts of debt. For me to get rid of the debt, I need to work.
Okay. So now we have what the real challenge is. You're really working for what need then?
For me, I think.
No, but which need? Connection and love, growth, contribution, certainty, variety, significance? What's the main reason you're working?
According to human needs psychology, all human motivation can be explained as the desire to meet one or more of 6 primary human needs. These are certainty, the need for stability, safety, and comfort; variety, the need for stimulus and change; significance, the need to be special and worthy of attention; connection and love, the need for connection with others and ultimately to love and be loved; growth, the need to develop and expand; and contribution, the need to give beyond yourself. In order to understand any behavior, whether it is someone else's behavior or your own, it is important to understand which need you are trying to meet. For instance, it is one thing to try to make money out of a craving for certainty and safety, and it is a very different thing to try to make money out of a sense of contribution and growth. Tony is asking Lindsay to understand the deeper motivations in her life right now.
I'd say to reestablish the connection and love with those I've hurt.
Okay. And so you're working to reestablish it. That's what's behind it. But when you think about going to work, mostly you're thinking about making money so that you can do well enough to reestablish that. Is that right?
Sort of, but I think mainly I just feel through the days of gambling I've managed to get rid of the habit itself, but the hurt or the baggage that I have left is the debt that's behind. So I used to smoke a lot and I used to drink a lot when I gambled as well, both of which I've been able to kick the habits of also. But the one thing...
Give her a hand for that.
Lindsay shows her strength as she explains that she got rid of her gambling, smoking, and drinking habits. But she is tearful as she talks about her baggage, the heavy debt that she carries. As Lindsay offers the word baggage as a metaphor that symbolizes her problem, Tony will use metaphors and symbols to transform Lindsay and her relationship with her husband.
The one thing that I have left is the debt, and that's just a constant reminder to me always. It doesn't matter, how much I look to my future, I consistently have this bag that I carry around with me. So I focus on my work to try and free myself of the bag that I have carrying around with me.
Well, what if you put the bag down?
Life wouldn't be as heavy.
And what if you took the bag and you put it in a little rocket and you shot it into the sun?
Yeah, that'd get rid of the bag.
Yeah. And after that's happened, tell me what happens when you walk outside.
The world's a lot nicer place. Life isn't so tough. It's not so stressful.
And how does work feel now?
Work's actually always felt great. I love what I do.
Oh.
I honestly enjoy what I do. I'm blessed to know that what I can do, I can earn money from, but I really do sincerely enjoy what I do. It's not difficult at all what I do work-wise.
A moment ago, Lindsay tearfully expressed her pain at having to work to pay off her debt, the bag that she carried. Tony gave her 3 metaphorical ways of getting rid of the bag, and now Lindsay cheerfully explains that she loves her work and that it's not difficult at all. Such is the power of metaphor. A metaphor is a word or a phrase that represents one thing while symbolizing something else. Metaphors have a powerful influence on the unconscious mind. So a bag can be simply a bag, or it can symbolize a heavy debt. The imaginary act of setting down the bag or shooting it into space symbolizes getting rid of the suffering caused by the debt. As Lindsay imagines getting rid of the bag, meaning the suffering, she can experience the love that she actually has for her work.
I want to ask you that are watching, did something just happen? Now, you might think it's a little word game, but it wasn't. Watch what just happened. Right now, her reason for working just changed. True or false? Could you feel it? Could you see it? Can you feel it?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, how did that happen that fast? The problem hasn't gone away, just the bag. The heavy bag she's dragging along. And what I'm doing with her right now, just so you know, is remember I said your subconscious mind is the most powerful one of all, and I'll give you a clue. The brain responds to symbols or metaphors more powerfully than anything. What's more powerful, the word Nazi or the swastika? The word Christ or the cross? Now here's the problem. We feel in our bodies whatever we represent in our brains. And she's representing all of her pain attached to one metaphor called the luggage, the baggage, the heavy bag she's dragging along. And as long as she's focused on that, she can't actually notice that this has all been a gift because she actually loves her work. It actually makes her feel alive. That the truth of the matter is, she got all this from God so that she would go back to what she loves and feel productive and feel like there was something she could give on a daily basis, even when her children are going through the problems they're going through. Oh yes, I know who you are. You have a child with cerebral palsy, right? Another one with something else, I don't remember. What is it? Cerebral palsy is?
And my eldest daughter's got cerebral palsy and autism.
And autism. Well, that would make it probably want a place to escape, since love is what you're really about. And you probably feel like there's nothing you can do.
Tony knew from the information provided by Lindsay before the event that she had 2 daughters, one with cerebral palsy and one with cerebral palsy and autism. From the brief interchange with Lindsay, he knew that her most important human need was for love, and he understood her terrible pain in feeling that there was nothing she could do for her daughters.
Because pain is when your life conditions don't match your model of the world. But suffering comes when your life conditions don't match your model of the world and you feel powerless to change it.
Lindsay's pain comes from having 2 daughters who are so sick. That was not what she had expected from life. It was not her model of the world. Tony makes the distinction between pain and suffering. Pain is a fact of life. It is the experience of hurt. Suffering comes from feeling powerless to stop the pain, to change it. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. Suffering is optional. We can always do something to change the pain, even if only in small ways. Everything in the world is constantly changing, and so the nature of pain changes also.
I understand suffering at all levels, and I understand your specific suffering, and it's time to stop suffering. It's time to give your daughters what they deserve, which is a mama who knows that there is a plan bigger than their understanding of what's going on. And that autism, cerebral palsy, all those pieces, that you still do make a difference for them. Because love is the only thing they really need. And you are a lover. And when you go to work, you can express it in that place. And when you come home, you can let that work where you feel filled up because you know you've done something that's contributed and been alive. You can take that home to your daughters and you can give them that love they need at whatever level it is. And you can trust that that force is significant even though they still have pain.
Tony points out that Lindsay is not powerless with regard to her daughters. She is powerful in easing their pain through her love.
If you were to do that, then the bag, that's right, that blew up and vaporized, you take that off your shoulder and you walk a hell of a lot taller and you think, God must really know I'm a force in nature to give me these daughters and know that in spite of everything, I'm still going to love, I'm still going to grow, I'm going to expand. And there's plenty of proof. I tried to deaden the pain through distraction of gambling, through alcohol, through cigarettes, changing my physiology. None of it worked because God had a bigger plan for me. And the plan for me is work, grow, expand who I am so there's more of me as I grow to give to those I love. And I am more than enough. I was put here at this time for this reason. And even though it may not look like it's magical in the way I think it should be, if I can't change the environment, then I got to change my model of the world. And I have to find an empowering meaning. And your vibrancy and your gift will be your ability to step out of your own pain. That doesn't mean not feel it, but not stay in that pain and to use that pain as drive to give more to those you love.
Tony first helped Lindsay to metaphorically get rid of her bag. Then he acknowledged the power of her love. Now he moves to give Lindsay a new meaning in life, where love and contribution to others will be her strength and her gift.
And the more you do that, that's where spiritual growth happens. Because spiritual growth is when you start out focused only on yourself, and that's when you'll be miserable. And then you care about people around you, because they can give you pain or pleasure. Their hurts are your hurts. And eventually you care about everybody, including people that are supposedly strangers, and you really care about them, not because they can give you pain or pleasure, but because you know that we're all here for a reason and a purpose, and it serves us, and it's our job to find the empowering meaning of why we're here. If you find that, life is magical. And suffering stops. Remember, pain is part of life. It's a good thing. The pain that digs inside of you, this deep, deep, deep pain, opens a well. Your job is, what are you going to fill it up with? Love or fear? Resentment and anger, or gratitude, knowing that even though you don't understand it, there's a faith inside you that says, there's something beautiful that can come from this. There's more inside of me because of this.
There is always a choice to be made. Pain can result in resentment and anger, or it can bring out strength, love, and spiritual fulfillment.
Maybe I'm only talking to you, because if people believe that, then their subconscious is totally open for me to penetrate them. Because everybody in this room has had suffering. Suffering of various kinds. Suffering happens when the way you think life's supposed to be is not the way it is. And especially if something outside your control has f***ed it up.
Through his conversation with Lindsay, Tony is influencing everyone in the room to make the best of their challenges and of the pain that is an inevitable part of living.
But if you're the woman you're made to be, if you're the man you're made to be, then you'll suck it up, get out of the suffering, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and step up and do what's necessary now so that the gifts that God has given you show the up. Not the story, not the excuse, not the bad feelings. Life is hard at times. Pain is part of life. Suffering's an option. Pain's a damn good thing if you use it. So what are you feeling now, my dear?
I always feel that I have stepped up to the plate for my kids.
Yes.
I have no doubt that I have. They are everything to me. But I'm tired of doing it.
Yes, I know.
I've had enough.
You've had love.
No, I've had enough.
You've had enough.
I think I can appreciate that life is full of challenges, and I appreciate that I've been put on earth for a purpose, and I accept that. But there comes a time when enough is enough.
I agree. Enough gambling, enough smoking, enough drinking, enough blaming yourself.
No, not at all. I don't... Yeah, perhaps.
Give her a hand for that.
When Lindsay says enough is enough, she is referring to her pain and her suffering in relation to her daughters and her loneliness in relation to her husband. Tony brings Lindsay back to her strengths by turning around what she said to mean that she had had enough of smoking, drinking, and gambling. In this way, he reminds her of her strength in quitting these activities, which is also the strength she needs to help her daughters and to change her husband. Tony laughs with Lindsay as she realizes that Tony once more broke her pattern of suffering by referring to her bad habits instead of to her daughter's illnesses or her husband's shortcomings.
Logically, she knows it's not her. Logically, I know it's not me. But because you're a lover and because you are conscious and because you care, you've taken a level of responsibility that feels inhuman. That's what has to stop. Not the love of your children, not the having to support them, because even though it's a pain, it's difficult, it's overwhelming, it seems like you can't win. God wouldn't give you the challenge if you weren't strong enough to make it happen. Because if you don't believe in God, believe in dog and become dyslexic. And as the dyslexia begins to shift you, dyslexia gives the ability to see things reversed, doesn't it? When somebody has dyslexia, what's supposed to be in the front goes in the back, what's in the back goes in the front, or letters reverse. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's useful to be dyslexic. It makes you more creative. You know, there's an old story that I'm sure you've heard of regardless of your religion. It's the story of Saul to Paul. Saul doesn't believe there's anything in life more significant than Saul. And one day, God steps down and knocks his off his horse and blinds him for several days just to get his full attention. And suddenly, he begins to realize life is about love, not about significance. It's not certain, because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? You think you know what's going to happen tomorrow? You don't have a clue. Life could change like that. Everything you think is so important could change like that. So maybe what you got to do is what's everlasting that you can experience, which is giving your gift of love. Not getting it, giving it. Because when you give it, you get to feel it, and then it's guaranteed whether somebody returns it or not. So I appreciate your honesty where you caught yourself. So what has to stop is the blaming that you do subconsciously, that you've used then to punish yourself. The punishment has to stop. The bag is vaporized. So now what do we do, Lindsay?
Tony is using a confusion technique. He talks about God and dog, then about dyslexia and Saul de Paul, in a way that he is confusing and difficult to understand. By confusing her, he gets Lindsay's full attention. In trying to grasp the meaning of what Tony is trying to say, she is ready to accept his first clear message. And that message is that there is a difference between wanting to get love and wanting to give it. And that love is really about giving, not about getting. Now Tony is ready to ask Lindsay the question that leads to real change. What is she going to do?
So now what do we do, Lindsay?
I need my husband to step up to the plate more. I feel that at times, if I don't do what it takes to make things happen, who is? And I'm not the sort of person that I really don't believe that I shoulder the burden willingly all the time, but if I sat back and hoped that life would take its course for, say, Chloe, for example, and that life would work out well for her, she'd still be fighting the battles that she was a number of years ago.
Chloe is the name of Lindsay's daughter who suffers from cerebral palsy.
I just feel that I'm consistently battling not only with education boards, doctors, etc., but I'm battling with my own family who in turn don't step up to the plate, specifically my husband, and I'm really very tired of that also because I don't feel that, not that I dislike being the one to have to get out there and fight for her, but to have someone to go along that path with you and to share it, to me, would half it, whereas by me having to be the one to do it all the time, I also feel that you put up an enormous wall between my husband and myself, because if I don't focus on what needs to happen for my children, then I do push him to one side because my focus totally is on making sure I get the most that I can for my kids, and I don't see anybody else doing that for me. So I don't quite know how to step back and not make that happen, because it won't happen if someone doesn't make it happen.
Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you blew him?
Tony uses shocking language to break Lindsay's pattern of complaining and self-pity. If he had said something like, "When was the last time you told your husband that you loved him?" he would not have been nearly as effective in getting Lindsay's full attention, as well as the attention of the large group. Just as the baggage symbolizes the dead, blowing the husband symbolizes loving him. Nevertheless, Lindsay continues for a while in the same tone of voice.
Oh, ages ago. Yeah. At times I can't stand the man, and I'm very honest with that. Like I have no doubt that he loves me, but he tells me so, and I've kind of tried to wait. Maybe I doubt that at times, because there are a lot of issues related to gambling and sex where he used to trade sex and I would go gambling, which to me, so I do harbour a real underlying something there that to me sex isn't something that's beautiful, it's not something that's meant to happen, it's a trade, and you don't trade that.
Yes, I know, you're supposed to just give it.
Yeah, true.
In talking about sex, Tony once again emphasizes giving. The issue is to give love versus getting it. This makes Lindsay thoughtful. Given her family situation, Lindsay's life is likely to remain difficult. But there is a resource in her life which is currently a weakness that could become the source of greatest strength: her relationship with her husband. Tony's goal at this point is to help Lindsay to be able to reach out to her husband for comfort, companionship, and love, so that when life gets tough, they can ride it out together.
Now, some of you think this is about her. Some of you think it's about him. And some of you would begin to remember that we all learn best in life throughout humanity's history through stories. Because when you're listening to a story, you make connections that you're unaware of within yourself. So remember, I'm only speaking to her right now. I asked you when last time you blew him was, and you said it's been a long time. You told me that he says he loves you, but you doubt it honestly, because you harbor resentment that if you gave him sex, he would let you do anything you want, including gamble. This is not surprising for any man, because once a man has had sex, he is vulnerable to anything. He will give anything. But that does not mean he was trading sex for gambling. It sounds like you were the person trading sex for gambling.
And that could well be so. I suppose I've looked at that aspect of things, and in all honesty, I can't get my head around the fact that in many ways that he just didn't see, it's not normal in a relationship for someone to be going out to the casino gambling 4 or 5 times a week. And I really do, I'm very angry at him for not having been there and even tried to intervene when I didn't hide the fact of where I was going. I never lied to him. I didn't say I'm going A and go B. It was very obvious that that's where I was going. So, you know...
Well, let me ask you 2 questions, because I hear you, but I just want to make sure I ask you a couple of questions. The first question is, in this culture, because I don't live in this culture. Oh, that's not true. I live in Mermaid Beach. I'm here, 4, 5, 6 weeks out of the year, because I love the place. But I've never been in a culture where I've heard people say, I'll bet you, so often. I've never lived in a culture where everybody stops what they're doing to watch a horse race. So one consideration is for a masculine male in this culture, females as well, but a masculine male for sure, betting is a huge part of this culture. True or false? True or false? So the first seduction is that. The second piece is, if you were to step out of your husband, because I don't know him, but I know males. I can tell you something about males that ladies in this room, many don't really know, understand, or appreciate. Just like men don't understand how important attention is to a woman, really how important it is. Not attention with one eyeball on the TV and one going over here to say hello, but real, total, nothing else but you attention like you crave. Women don't understand what drives a man. They think it's sex, and they're so wrong. What it is feeling like they're significant enough to you that you will open to them. That you will open and be completely vulnerable. It f***s a man's mind up, because sex is the ultimate experience of him saying, you really love me because you've opened and are vulnerable to me. You're not fighting with me, you're open to me completely in every damn way, and that excites you, makes you happy. Because ultimately what makes a man light up, if you want to know, and ladies, I'll give you a simple test, it's not hard to figure out, is he wants to make you happy. He'll die to make you happy if he loves you. Now, men do not try to make happy a woman who they feel they cannot make happy. Because let me explain something to you ladies. Making you happy makes him feel he's a man. Failing to is like cancer. He might as well be dead. That's why most men, and men, ladies, I know you know this is true, but I'll ask the men, and men, I want you to be dirt honest. How many men, no matter what you like, women say, oh, you like, breasts, you like rears, you like legs, you like whatever. How many men here think, there's no question, no matter what a woman looks like, if she's happy, if she's smiling at you, you're f***ed up. How many men can agree with this? Say I. Gentlemen, if you agree a woman's smile is the sexiest thing about her, say I. If you hear their voices, they're not bullshitting you. In fact, there can be a woman who a man can look at first because she seems so sexy, and he may keep looking, but there's a part of him that starts to shift when he sees she really isn't happy. And if he thinks she's happy, he makes it up. His biochemistry takes over and he's with her for a period of time. The reason he wants to get out of there is he discovers he was wrong. But if he can make you happy, a man lights up like a Christmas tree. Now, most men don't know how to make a woman happy because there are times in which a woman does not want to be happy. True or false, ladies? She doesn't want you to make her happy. She wants you to understand. She wants you to appreciate. She wants you to feel her pain. Now, you don't understand. Men's whole job is cut the pain off and move forward. Because here's what women do. Women energy, feminine energy, takes little shit and makes it as big as possible. And masculine energy takes big shit and pretends it's really small. True or false? All right, that's what it's about. So if you want the truth instead of your anger, then I can tell you the truth that I know because I've been with 3 million people, both male and female. I could be an idiot, and I'd have to know this because there aren't that many patterns. This man wants to make you happy. He wants to feel needed and desired by you. When you would have sex with him and desire him and everything else, and he'd feel lit up like, oh my God, she wants me. What do you want? Anything. I want you to be happy. So gambling, I'll bet you, this culture, go for it. It lights you up, it makes you happy. You're not happy all the time. How would you be happy with all this shit in your life? So if you can get a little escape and go bet, and it makes you happy and it makes things better, why not? It wasn't because he didn't give a f about you. It wasn't because he didn't care. And he was not responsible to know what the f was going on inside you, even though you want him to. Because if you're a woman, you expect a man knows everything you're thinking. And men are like, I'm not a mind reader.
Tony explains Lindsay's husband's point of view. He just wants to make her happy. Lindsay's smile shows that she knows that that's true.
Because see, women can use a hint of a voice, or if you say to a man, do you want help with this? And he says no, he means no. And if you start to help, he's gonna look at you like, what's the matter with you? I can handle this. But if you ask a woman, do you want help with this? And she says no, it means yes, you stupid f. And if you go, oh, she said no, and go off now, she's like, he doesn't give a f about me. True or false, ladies? Make some noise. I didn't know that a man, my job was to become Sherlock Holmes. That your job was to be a detective, because women are always leaving clues. Now they get pissed, like you are, because you think any woman would have figured out that I needed somebody to intervene here, and then I'm out of control. Right? But you went, oh, she's gambling, she's happy. I love her and she's happy. This is beautiful. Oh, it's kind of tough on the family. It's tough on me too, but if it makes her happy, that's much better than the cancer of unhappiness that we have to deal with, because God gave us some kids that really have huge physical problems that, God, we have to fight every day in. Let her escape. I'd like to escape too. I love her. And if she just blow me every now and then, it would be a whole different experience. Right? But now, you don't suck his.
Tony again refers to oral sex in a funny, outrageous way in the same sentence as he's talking about the serious problems of the daughters. Lindsay's laughter shows that she has broken her pattern of misery once more and is opening new possibilities with her husband.
And you say, I don't know if he doesn't love me. I can promise you he's going, I don't know if she doesn't love me either. I want to make her happy, but now I can't even get her to gamble. What do we do? He doesn't know you're carrying luggage around. He thinks you're just going to work. Because for him, work is an escape. Work is a place to be certain and significant, because he doesn't feel significant with you. He can't significantly change how you feel. He can't do anything for his kids that really seems lasting, so he's impotent. He feels emasculated, so he might do really stupid things that you can't understand, like take control of you or say something stupid, because he feels like you make him feel insignificant all the time. And he had this problem before you met him, by the way. Just like you had the problem before you met him. Yes, you did, and yes, he did. Not this problem, not the story of this controlling behavior or lack of attention or not doing what's there. The problem inside of putting significance above love. Let me give you an example so you know what I'm talking about. Everyone in this room has times in their life when they go into what I call a crazy 8. Please pay attention and you'll understand your life in a different way if you really listen right now. Here's what a crazy 8 is. There are 2 extreme emotions human beings feel. One side of that plate is things like feeling sad, depressed, lonely, not understood. How many get the feel of the type of emotion I'm talking about? Different words, same feeling. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about here. Say I. The other side of the crazy 8 is emotions like frustration, anger, resentment, maybe even rage. Now, most human beings trigger an interesting response when they feel out of control, when they feel powerless to change something, their husband or wife, their children, their body, their work, their boss, right? Their addiction. And when you feel out of control, what people do is they go into crazy 8. And what that does is they go to one of these emotions to the other. And which one they go to, where they go first sad and depressed and lonely, or where they first go frustrated, angry, pissed off, has more to do with which needs have they learned to value. Significance and certainty, even though they want love. If it's significance and certainty, which emotion of it is going to fulfill that faster? Feeling certain and significant when you're feeling insignificant and uncertain. Which one, sad or angry? Quick, which one? Which one? And on a 0 to 10, how high will you get that significance back? 0 to 10, where's it going to go? 10. Certainty, how high? 10. And how fast can you get it when you get pissed off? And you just witnessed her do it, talking about him.
Lindsay started out the conversation talking about her tremendous burden of guilt for gambling her way into debt. But once she started talking about her relationship with her husband, she quickly started blaming him for not stopping her when she was out of control. This anger is a way for her to meet her need for certainty and significance in the very moment that she feels most insignificant, when she's feeling regret over her past addictions. This kind of paradoxical blaming is most often seen in intimate relationships, where you blame your partner for your own mistakes and defects precisely because your partner is supposed to be there for you and take care of you. The next time you feel like blaming someone close to you, ask yourself, which of the 6 human needs am I trying to meet right now? Usually anger serves to meet your need for significance and certainty precisely in the situations where you feel most insignificant and uncertain. Ask yourself, what thought am I having that is making me feel insignificant and uncertain? If you can understand exactly why you're getting angry, you can take responsibility for the real reason why you're blaming your partner. Now Tony will explain to Lindsay why she only goes to anger as a second choice.
Did you see that? But she didn't start there because she doesn't go there first. You know why? Because she doesn't value significance most, she values love most. So people who value love most and connection tend to go to sadness first, right? They feel sad because, oh my God, I'm not understood, or I feel alone, or I can't do anything, or I'm not good enough, or blaming themselves for the problems in their life. And so here's what happens. They feel sad and depressed, and what needs they get? Connection with themselves. Because they're usually busy taking care of everybody else. Right, Lindsay? Take care of everybody else. Am I right?
Yep, that's right.
So she takes care of everybody else, but she does it for a reason, because it gives her a sense of connection and love, and a sense of meaning and significance, but through the filter of connection. But when it doesn't feel like it's significant, I feel sad. So I feel connection with myself, because I'm normally taking care of everybody else. Now I feel for myself. I feel sorry, I feel sad. I might feel lonely. It's variety, because it's a different state that I'm in when I'm taking care of everybody else. But you know what? If you had somebody right here sitting on the stage right now, and they are crying uncontrollably, and I do nothing, I have no talent, no ability, nothing. All I do is just stand there and listen. Will they eventually stop crying, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, because the human body needs variety. It needs variation. So after a while, a person gets tired of feeling sad. They feel tired of feeling connected, and they still feel tired of feeling uncertain, and they feel tired of feeling insignificant. So you know what they do? They go, I'm not settling for this shit anymore. You know what? He should have seen that. He shouldn't be doing that. She shouldn't be doing that. God shouldn't have done this to me. This is bullshit. And now the person gets frustrated or pissed off or angry or rageful, and what do they get? Significance at a 10. Get it? Certainty at a 10. And even some connection with himself at a 10. But if you leave somebody up here and they're screaming in rage and saying, F you, I hate you, you son of a bitch, and you don't do anything but stand there and listen, will they eventually stop being angry, yes or no? Why? Because the human nervous system needs variety to survive. And by the way, when you're pissed off and angry, what are the muscles in your body like? Are they tight or weak? Which one? Is the energy strong or relaxed? So you got tension and pressure in your body, which feels really good when you feel like you've been hurting and a victim for a long time. But after a while, I don't care what you do, the body has got to let go. So what happens? You got to let go of the anger. So you know what the person does? They go, It's really just this helpless and it's hopeless and it'll never work and no one understands. And you go back to feeling sad. And guess what happens? All the tension. Think about it. When you're feeling sad, when you're feeling crying, when you're feeling, alone, what happens to the energy in your body? All the muscles relax, doesn't it? Everything lets go. Even though it doesn't feel good, it lets go. You connect with yourself. You feel that feeling again. It's variety. And after a while, you get tired of feeling that way and you get pissed off again. You get tired of pissed off and you get sad. And pissed off and sad and pissed off and sad and pissed off and sad. How many of you here have done this in your life? Raise your hand about an issue. Say I. And when does it happen? When you have the illusion that you have no control.
Tony is really explaining to Lindsay the pattern that caused her to get addicted to gambling, drinking, and smoking. She had been caring for her daughters, whose medical conditions were so severe. It was hard to feel that any help was ever enough. This thought made her feel so insignificant and uncertain that she would snap out of the mode of caring and nurturing and into anger and frustration. In order to escape from that crazy 8 pattern, she would go gambling or drinking, which changed her physiology and her environment. Now, long after her gambling problem is over, Lindsay still has a crazy 8 pattern where she goes from guilt and regret over her gambling to anger and blaming her husband for not helping her to stop it. Now, take a moment to ask yourself, when you feel that things are out of your control, which side of the crazy 8 do you go to first? The side with anger and frustration, or the side with sadness and self-pity?
How many follow this? Now, which side? It isn't an equal side. Some of you spend more time on the pissed off side. And while you're there, you say things to your partner or your friends that they don't forget. And they feel insignificant, so now they try to show you they have control over your They have certain insignificance in that. And it starts, imagine 2 crazy people getting together. That's what you have. And you think it's them because it's so easy to see them. But you really love each other and that really f***s things up. Maybe you have children together, that f***s it up. See, you get 2 crazy people together and you got total f***ing craziness. Because then, you both get angry and say shit, and then you both go feel hurt about, and then maybe you get off, one's sad, one's angry, who knows what the f***s happening. Now, how do you get out of this? Most people get out of this the way you used to. Here's what you would do in the insanity of it all. You would exit going down by using something to distract yourself, because when you focus on something else, this all disappears. Or you do something with your physiology, drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, that changes you. You did both. You went gambling in that. And that gets you to exit it. But as soon as you come home, pretty quickly, you're back in one of these 2. And if significance is what you want, you're finding reasons to get angry. In your case, it's connection and love, aloneness. But you get back into this. There's a better way out, and that's up. And the way up is change your fucking model of the world. Change your goddamn rules. Stop your addiction to one side of this or the other. Stop thinking it's your partner when it's you. You're so busy saying, I don't know if he loves me. I can promise you he has the same thoughts about you towards him. I can promise you he's gone through the same crazy 8. Now, I don't know if he tends to get more angry. That's my guess. And I'm only guessing because you'd probably be attracted to the fact that he had strength, since love is what you want. So at one stage, my guess is he was strong, and now you're pissed because he's not, because he's probably, the anger thing hasn't worked, and he's probably sad. Who knows where the f he is now, but he's crazy. Any truth in anything I just said?
Yeah, I'd say you're pretty right.
In what way?
I'd say, yeah, he actually has said to me that he doesn't know really what to do. Like, he kind of feels that it doesn't seem to matter which way he goes, it's never right. And I mean, I can honestly say that I don't mean it to be that way.
I know you don't.
But it's like, I don't know which way to go either. Like, I feel like I'm, in that crazy 8 thing kind of sums it up for me, I think, where I just go from one extreme to the other.
That's right. And by the way, have you seen her do that while she's been standing in this time, yes or no? Which one did she start out in? Which one? Anger or sadness? Which one? Sadness. And then after we got rid of the sadness, it opened it up so she could get pissed. Did you see that? Like, we actually got her where she was feeling happy, But that was enough because she still has the energy in her body of all the anger from the past. So now that she's not crying, there's a space to get pissed off. Now when that happens with him, he won't understand it. He's like, I thought she was happy. Now she's pissed. I haven't done anything. How many guys have had this experience? Raise your hand and say, aye. You're right, you haven't done anything. She's just gonna do it. It's a storm. You didn't do anything for the storm either. But you better not run when the storm comes, because then she'll go, you weren't there for me. And then there'll be another storm. So all this is a lesson in meaning. It's understanding that this is really your addiction, not your partner's. And if you get out of yourself, if you really did what you're best at and filled this guy up and made him feel happy, that you're happy and that you love him, which can be expressed physically and emotionally and verbally, he won't believe it at first because he's scared. You know it's true. That's why you laughed your ass off just now. So then you'll be pissed off going, well, here I was, happy and nice. So yeah, for a minute after years of him not being sure. Now if you went to go blow him, you'd be like, was this part of the seminar? It's a technique. She's doing it to manipulate me. That Robbins guy, right? He's not going to trust because it's going to take consistency.
Tony is now very clear and directive in orienting Lindsay to focus on giving love to her husband and the happiness that can come from that.
Or she's making this huge, I need to stand here and love her and be with her and let her keep feeling and feeling and feeling. And even though it looks like there's no end in sight, if I love her and I keep staying with her, she'll feel enough of it that her body will actually let go of it all. But remember I told you yesterday, why do people fail at the game of life? Because they don't even know the goal of the game. And they got a bunch of rules that don't even necessarily relate to what makes them win. And they have rules that are in conflict. Like, you should love me and accept me for who I am. But if I gamble, you should have stopped me, you asshole. And then other people have different rules, especially if they're of a different gender, about how to win the same game. And you want to win it with them, and they got wrong rules. And then they have infill fly rules. Accept me completely and love me for who I am. Don't judge me, except when I gamble. And I'm happy. Then I know you f***ing hate me. You don't care for me, and it's your f***ing fault I went through all this pain. Because if you would have been more present, I wouldn't have been there. So now I have a question for you, Lindsay, since this has only been about you. You have a very nice smile. Something you could use even more, I bet. In fact, if your husband saw you smile as much as you did this morning, he might get hard. There you go. And then you might know he loves you. But I know that's not how you know. You know by him understanding and taking time and figuring you out. Send him to me and I will teach him these things. In the meantime, don't expect a blind, deaf man who worships you to understand how to make you happy, especially when you don't want to be happy at times. It's just dumb, and you're not a dumb woman. But you could love the shit out of him, and that would make him have more desire to figure it out. Because he's as in much pain and as scared as you are. So what are you thinking or feeling now?
I'm thinking and thinking about, I went to UPW in October last year, and life was changed quite dramatically for us upon my return, as far as an intimate relationship was concerned. And I must admit, life was a lot rosier at that time. And yes, he did stand there shaking his head saying, what the f***'s going on here? Oh my God, what happened? God, you were there for 4 days. What's wrong with your life? Da, da, da. So I can understand what you're saying is the old story that you don't give to receive, you give because that's who you are.
Give her a hand for that for starters.
It is clear that Lindsay has incorporated giving love to her husband as part of her identity.
And really, my biggest challenge for myself, and one that I'm ready to step up for definitely, is that my past is my past, and that I have a very bright and rosy future, as do my kids, of which I have no doubt.
Give her a hand for that. Beautiful.
Lindsay is now able to see a bright future for her children, quite a difference from how she started less than an hour ago.
But I guess most of all is I really do have no doubt that Jason and I are meant to be together. I think we've stood the test of time well and truly.
Give her a hand for that. Look at that smile.
But I think most of all is that to understand that he probably finds it really just as difficult, or if not as difficult as me. And he is more confused perhaps than I am, and we really do...
Much more. Because you at least know the rules, because you know it for another woman and you could help her. In fact, that's probably where you've gotten some of your comfort, is somebody, a female that you care about, a friend, somebody. Is that true? Have you had anybody like that?
Yeah, that's true. And to be honest, Jason and I can sit down and talk, and he does just put his head in his hands going, what is it with women? I just don't get it.
Yes.
Like, you know...
But see, women understand, so they assume a man would understand.
But I just thought that after a while they'd get it a bit better.
No.
And
No, because a man's world is based on logic. Women do not have that interfere with their experience of life. A woman can feel something, and it makes sense to her even though there's no reason for it. So what he has to understand is, I don't need to make her happy, I need to make a difference. Am I loving her no matter what? Makes a difference. My understanding that instead of telling her she's wrong for caring about everything all the time, or saying, let go of the kids right now, she can't. And isn't it beautiful that she cares that much about the kids, and both of them, and me, and her, and her friends, and everything else? And I would go crazy if I thought about that all at once. I like to think of it one at a time. That's why most men, they can watch TV, you know, they can read the paper, but they can't do both those things at once and pay attention to you. The human male brain works physiologically differently. So no, he's not going to just get it. He has to be trained. And you are not a good trainer because you're busy feeling, which makes total sense. You don't want to become a trainer. Send him to me, I'll whip his ass into shape. Or love him and shape him through your love instead of your anger. Share with him the happiness that you do have, because you just told us a bunch of things that are very different than what you started out saying. I want to hear a very different story right now. Sounds like he actually loves her and tries to listen and share and hear and care. And there's another piece too. I know you want him to step up also, but you've also done the stepping up because the one source of sanity you have is that you are significant because you do it all. And so even though it's pissed you off, you wouldn't give him a lot of space to do that. Except when you're totally exhausted at that point, he doesn't know what to do, and he's gone too, and who knows what's going to make you happy. But you would hate yourself if you weren't the most significant one. Be nice to have it be more balanced. You loved his and shared it to him and say, you know, if you'd help me in these pieces, and you reinforce them, because he'll be stupid, he'll like do it once and think that's what you mean. You can get him to be a part of that process. Not by demand, not by hate, not by taking love away, by sharing and giving even more love. If it's not physical, though, he won't believe it's real. And you're the only one who needed to hear this conversation, Lindsay. That's why we took so much time on it. So where do we go from here?
I just think I need to go home and re-establish a really good intimate connection with him again, and to ditch the bag would be probably a really good start as well. So
Do what with the bag?
To ditch the bag, or to blow the bag up, or
yes.
all of
well,
that sort
the male
of
thing is blow it up. Women would just ditch it. That's great.
And continue to love my kids and my family, which I do automatically. Like, that's just who I really am from the bottom of it all. And just to continue to encourage them to be who they are, and that it's okay to be different and all those sorts of things, and just to enjoy life.
And I'm just curious, When you think about your life now, how do you feel?
That it's actually pretty good.
So it's not over?
No, and I really don't believe it ever was over. Like, I honestly don't, I've never believed that life's been over, but I definitely believe that we have a lot of challenges that sometimes we really just don't know where to go. And that's why we come somewhere like this, so that we can learn where to go. Because we all want a better life. We don't want a life. We want to live to the fullest of our potential.
One thing that's useful to know about men versus women, women speak in riddles. Men think when you're speaking in riddles, you mean what you're saying. If there's anything a man can learn, is that women never mean what they're saying, never will upset them, rarely mean what they're saying. But they know that they really are meaning what they're saying because they're speaking in riddle. So when you said earlier, it's over, I can't do this anymore, I can tell if you say that, he's going to go off panic going, I have failed. Ultimately, life is ending, it is over. He didn't know that it was a storm that would pass if we would just talk here for about 45 minutes. And now life will be wonderful and great and compelling in future. So the men in this room may want to remember this conversation and know this woman, even though she doesn't look like the one that you spend time with, the core of it is the same. The story may change, but the core is the same. Listen for the deeper piece. Every man, if I could give you one gift, I'd get you a magnifying glass and one of those little old hats, and turn you into Sherlock Holmes. Because if you do, you'll become a hero instead of an idiot. And you deserve to be able to win like that. And every woman deserves a man who will search and find. Because nothing lights her up more than a man who will stick with it and find. And most men, if you're really a man, that's what you're made for anyway. You love a fucking challenge. You love to break through. You love to figure it out. If you were as committed as figuring out your woman as you were that electronic device, imagine what your life would be like. Guy will spend an hour trying to figure out this electronic thing, and not even 30, woman says something, I'm out of here. Shift your focus and you shift your life. Make your woman a larger sphere. Give her a big hand.
Lindsay stood up presenting a challenging story about a very hard life. While dealing with the challenges of caring for 2 children with severe health difficulties, she had become addicted to gambling, smoking, and drinking, which had put her entire family into severe financial debt. Although she was able to overcome her addictions, she was still left with not only the financial debt, but also a crippling sense of regret and guilt over what she had done. Tony instantly recognized and appreciated the degree of pain and sense of helplessness that Lindsay had suffered over her daughter's health issues. Then he asked her, what will she do with that pain? Was she going to let the pain create an atmosphere of fear, resentment, grief, and guilt, or an atmosphere of greater love, compassion, and awareness? Then we learned the real challenge. Lindsay was furious with her husband, who had not helped her break her gambling habit, and who had not prevented her from ruining the family's finances. Instead, he had not interfered with Lindsay's addictions. Tony explained the predominant emotional pattern that ruins relationships, the crazy 8. The truth is that we seek to blame our loved ones, not because it will help, not because they are responsible, but because anger helps us feel significant and certain in the moments when we feel most insignificant and fearful. Tony also explained her husband's situation. He hadn't stopped Lindsay from gambling because he loved her. He understood the hardships of her life, and he wanted her to have something she could do to escape and be happy. Lindsay understood the pattern that had led her to gamble, and that was even now trapping her in feelings of sadness and blame. She also recognized that her husband loved her and would do anything for her, just as she would do anything for her children. Her love and understanding for her husband was renewed, and she went home to him with a new attitude of love, acceptance, and compassion. Now let's visit with Lindsay and her husband Jason as they meet with Tony again 1 year later.
Well, first of all, it's great to see you and great to meet you finally. Lindsay, tell me something. You look very, very soft and relaxed compared to the last time I saw you. Tell me what's catch me up. What's happened in your life? It's been a few years of this process now.
Yeah, Tony, life's never been better for me. It's really quite special now. I've really taken some time out for myself and spent, lots of time looking inwardly at ways that I could change rather than having my infamous gorgeous man over here. So, yeah.
Look at him, yes.
So, yeah, it was just really about taking responsibility for where I was, I think, and yeah, you really helped me to see that. There were times that I was just mad with you, but...
yeah, you seemed rather angry at stages when we were interacting.
Yeah, but I know you do it with love, but, there was times I thought, I wish he was close. But, I mean, it's just been an amazing journey for me, so, and one that I'm really so thankful to have had the opportunity to go through, and it's just an ongoing process, and yeah, so we're sort of tackling that together now, which is really gorgeous. But our relationship is great, and we're working on heaps of stuff together, and it's just awesome. Yeah.
Well, I want to hear from your perspective. What did you think when this woman comes home, and what's happened?
It was a major change. I thought that guy's a bloody genius.
I said he wanted to thank you for that part of our relationship.
Yeah, look, she has come out of it. She's gone from a very bad place, a destructive place,
yes,
to a place that she's out there moving ahead faster than anyone around her, really.
How does it make you feel when you see her today and see the way she's transformed herself?
I'm really proud of her because, if you look at gambling, her addiction to gambling, and you look at just addictions in general, it's about roughly 5% of addicts, maybe a bit less than that, that actually recover, yes, that actually come back to a normal life.
Yes. So the trust sounds like the trust is back.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely trust is back. And I've done some personal growing as well. I was an angry little ant, and she's helped me move past that. And rather than sit there and go, why could you spend $250,000,
Yeah.
To the point where I think, it's only money and we've got a strategy to bounce back. And the strategy's working well. So we've gone from very close people to probably as wide apart as you can get before it all falls apart,
yeah,
to back to probably closer than we were, yeah.
That's beautiful. Look at the smile on your face. I love seeing that. I love seeing you being able to be vulnerable and alive and not having to control with things at the same level. You can see it in your face, you can see it in your smile. It's really beautiful, really beautiful.
That was actually the hardest thing for me, the vulnerability aspect of anything to do with life for me. I just sort of had to control everything.
Yeah.
And in relationship-wise, that was always my core issue, was about allowing myself to be in a vulnerable position, and that wasn't comfortable for me.
Yes.
But hey, it's all good. Yeah.
We've had a 180-degree turn here.
Yes.
The thing I've noticed, and my kids have noticed, and that is that our kids have noticed, and that is that anything she does now, it's full on, And she'd have to be right up there in, when I say people that I know in the world that are driven, focused. She'd be a great one to look up to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's pretty nice when your husband looks up to you.
Isn't it so cute?
That
That's
is
nice
so beautiful.
to hear
That's
that.
beautiful. Now, you said it's only money. $250,000, $200,000 we still owe, we're paying off. How do you guys both resolve that so it's not like a wound? Because a lot of people would say that's not something I can get over because every month I got to pay that thing. How do you deal with that? What's the meaning you've given it? How have you shifted it to be able to really be in a good place about it?
I actually reframed it. I look at it as my education. So we have something in Australia called a HECS debt, which means that if you go to university,
yes,
you take out like a payment structure where it means that you go to uni and you study and you end up having to pay X amount of money for your HECS debt or for your education. So I had a big issue with not being an academic, so I thought, I'll just make it up. So I'll just make it the University of Life, like that's my HECS debt, So when it comes to pay it, because I had a major issue with making payments for something I had nothing to show for. Like, that was really challenging for me. So I thought, well, how can I do it? So I just thought I'll make it my HECS debt. And so now I have a degree. I'm a professor, from the University of Life. So I sort of figured it was a really cool way to do it. And that sits okay with me.
I think that's helpful for people because I think a lot of people just see something as loss. And what you both have managed to do is say, look what we've gained from our life. Do I want to have to deal with that? No, but would I happily do that to have my life the way it is today? You bet.
So I struggled with going through a whole heap of stuff and thinking it was in vain, and I thought, well, it only is if I don't do anything with it. So, yeah, so it's kind of cool.
It's very cool. I mean, the truth is, I don't think people that are going through gambling or people that are drinking to that extent or have any forms of addictions when someone tries to talk to them who hasn't had an addiction,
Yep.
they just go, oh, you don't understand, you don't know. But when someone who's had all their addictions, stacked on top to extreme, talks to them, then it's hard for them to escape that. And it takes that sometimes to get leverage for someone to change. So hopefully this film will provide that for people too, so they get to see, okay, here's this lady a few years later, look at the difference still. It isn't just a one-time little hit for a week or a month or something that made a difference. You both have been really good at forgiving each other now. Is that
I think you got to. I think, yeah, definitely. I think you got to. You know, if I sat there for 6 months, I sat there and I thought, how the hell could you do this? You know, like how could you do this?
Yes.
So I remember when I first found out about the gambling. You know, like someone's just told me, you know, I'm in a significant amount of debt here.
Yes.
And a friend of the family said to me, "What are you going to do? You're going to leave her?" And I said, "No, I love her." And that was sort of, I thought, you know, that's the time when you it really hits home that you're hanging around. You know.
Love you. Mwah. Gorgeous.
You both are. You're both gorgeous. Oh, there's tears all across here, and I got them too. That's beautiful. It must make you feel incredible to know how much your man loves you, and for him to know how much you love him, that come through hell or high water, that you're there for each other, no matter what.
You know, life's never going to be perfect, you know, and if you just pull together and realise that we do the best we can do. You know, I remember when you said that, I thought, I've always done the best I could do, and he's always done the best he could do. But sometimes our best was just different, that was all. One wasn't right and one wasn't wrong, it was just different, you know. But we
Completely
just
apart
did,
at times, I think.
Yeah, but we both did the best we could do, you know, and now we've realised that we can pull together and do the best we can do, and it's a totally different place. But I lean on him now, you know, like,
Yes.
and it's okay to do that, you know.
Yes.
If I'm having a bad day, it's okay. Like he can hack that, you know. Like I just was treating him like he was this person in cotton wool, and I had to do everything myself. But you know, he's a strong bloke.
Before, you had all these rules about how your man had to be, and he wasn't that. But you had very few rules for yourself back then, as I think I pointed out to you at the time.
No, Russell.
But the other extreme is to go beat yourself up, and you know, to blame yourself so much that then there's nothing left of you to be able to go out and make your life better. Or after a while, you get tired of beating yourself up, so you beat someone else up. And you've seemed to have stepped out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I was when I first came to UPW 2 years ago.
Yes.
I was beating myself up big time. So I'd stopped my gambling, and I'd really managed to pull my addictions into line,
Yeah.
but I was miserable.
Yeah.
It was like, well, now what? What do I do now? So I'm not doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So what do I do? You know, I was absolutely miserable. So, yeah, it's like you stop the addictions that you think are causing you the pain,
Yeah.
but you're left with more than you can ever imagine, and you've still got all the challenges. I still had all the challenges and things at home, so that's what was just priceless for me.
How do you define yourself? Are you a gambler anymore? What's your way of describing yourself?
I just see myself as a really caring person, and who just really wants to get out there and enjoy her life and be a great mum and a wonderful wife, but really kind to myself too. I was really mean to me.
Yes, you
And, you know, no one's been more vicious to me than me. And I don't want to do that anymore. You know, I'm deserving of much more from myself. So, and I give myself the room to be that person. So, and I goof up, you know, but I don't care. It just doesn't bother me. And I don't see gambling as a part of my life at all. I just, I'll never have the impact I was destined to have if I didn't do what I did, you know. And I look at, like, our eldest daughter, Chloe. She's having quite some major challenges at the moment, which is proving to be quite difficult to deal with.
Yes.
But because I've been through issues that I have myself, it's almost like I did it to help her, because she has major anger issues, and she'll say to me, "But Mum, it's so hard to keep myself together long term."
Yeah.
And we've shared, you know, my story and what's happened, so both of our girls are very aware of that.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I can share with you firsthand, Chloe, that when you want to make changes in your life, it is hard, but it gets easier. The more you stick to your guns and the more you do it, long term, the change is much easier. But it's like you're going uphill to start with, but then you get to the top of the hill and it's like you just glide down the other side and it's all good. So if I didn't go through what I've been through, I wouldn't be able to share that with my daughter. And I think, you know, she's really been such a great teacher for me. And I for her, and we've really got this really amazing bond that it's fantastic.
We both reflect the theme that I think most people don't realize, and to me that theme is that happiness and problems have no relationship.
And just being happy with little things, you know. And I remember Jason coming home one day, and there's myself and the two girls, and we've got the stereo flat out, and because we were dancing on the floor, I said, let's be really naughty. You get up on the coffee table and you just go for it, you know, have a really cool time. And you can be happy in that moment, or you can sit on the couch thinking about all the stuff that's going on that's not great, but you can be happy anytime you want to be happy. And I didn't realise that before. And I think by coming through the whole process that I have over the last couple of years, I've realised that happiness is a choice. You can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad.
How have you grown through all of this? Because you see how your lady's grown, but how have you grown?
I can see how that two people can actually make things go from, you know, no good at all into great, better than it was when you first met, sort of thing. You know,
wow.
It is possible as long as you're both on the same page. Yeah. You know, you've got to be both there. You know, your support person is as important as the person with the problem, really.
How many years have you guys been together?
18.
18 years, and better now than before. Now, I like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so cool, isn't it?
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
That's awesome.
And how about for you? I know that part of your vision, I understand, is to help other ladies that are having challenges like this.
That's huge for me, huge for me. I've got enormous big dreams. I'd really like to have a beautiful centre for kids and for families so that they can come together as a family and have some support for the kids with special needs and the siblings and the parents, because there's just no support there that we've been able to find. Spending much more time with the kids. You know, we have our weekends free now, and Jason spends a lot of time off on the weekends. So we actually have time to connect as a family, and you know, we do some goofy stuff. We went down for a photo shoot, didn't we, only a little while ago, and we went down to the beach down in Brisbane, and it was such a hoot, middle of winter, and here we are dressed in all the jeans and stuff, and we ended up having this massive water fight, and we were swimming in our jumpers and jeans, and oh God, it was amazing. We had all these people standing on the pier looking down at us, you know, and this one lady called out and she said to me, oh, wait till summer and I'll do that. And my instinct was, but you know, summer may never come for you. This is our summer. It doesn't matter because it's cold, you know. We were throwing balls, and a lady brought down a puppy for the kids to swim with, and we had another lady that brought down crystals and said, could you wash them for me, because it's like, it was just a crack up. And there we are sitting in a coffee shop, dripping wet, drinking hot chocolate. It was just a hoot, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
It was just beautiful. Now, we haven't done goofy stuff like that for ages, but it was just wonderful. And the kids, I think, part of what we've managed to really create here is some really good modelling for the kids as well. And I think the ability to share with them that you can make mistakes, because it's human to do so, but you can bounce back, and it's how you work with those that matters. You know, that's really important to us. So yeah.
I can't imagine a better environment for your children to grow up in. It's magical. So I'm excited for people to see the transformations you've created for each other and for your family, and hopefully they'll be inspired and remember what's possible, and remember the past does not equal the future.
That was one of the things that
Whisper it to me, I'll tell him.
I knew I'd leave this bit to the last bit. I never had the chance to say thank you. And I really wanted to say thanks, because I just didn't get the opportunity to say it. You know, I can't describe to you how different life is for me these days, and I really do appreciate it. So,
I'll give you a hug, but I want to tell you something. The greatest things that I could possibly have is to see the joy that you have. And also what brought me to tears here at the end, I'm already so moved by you guys, but I know what kind of life your children will have no matter what, but this is their reference base. They may get off target, but when they have this as a reference base, you've given your children something that is immeasurably valuable, and you've touched the future beyond yourselves. And you've made it really beautiful here. But please give me a hug. All the thanks in the world is just to see you guys so happy. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're an amazing woman. You've got an amazing man right here, too.
Thanks, Ike.